time.
Your brother was coming. I thought your brother was coming.
He's not missing us.
Is that a zinger?
All right, we're going to get ready. You good? Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Paz.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly. Here. Mr. Robinstein.
Here.
Mr. Farrell.
Here.
Mr. Ranieri.
Here.
Mr. Roll.
A public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 6, 2020, and two, emailed to the retrospective clerk posted on January 6, 2020. We're going to go out of our normal order because we have a special event this evening, a couple of special events. So at this point, we're going to go right to resolution 21-169. Okay, this is the appointment. Mark Tricoci as patrolman, and then the construction office, building inspector, construction official, fire subcode official, and zoning officer. There's one little adjustment on the zoning officer. The salary is $6,200.
62.
Yes, because it's based on an hourly rate. So we just do that as an amendment. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Mr. Robinstein. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly. Yes. Mr. Robinstein.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Ranieri.
Yes.
4 ayes, 2 absent.
All right, the resolution is adopted. Mr. Tricoci, you want to come up? We always like to do you guys first, so that one of these days, though, we're going to keep someone to the end.
Wait till the pandemic's over.
Do you want somebody to hold the button? Wants to come up? Okay, repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey.
and that I will bear true faith
And I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
And that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office
of the office
of patrolman,
of patrolman
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
and that I will not use my office
and that I will not use my office
to grant preferential treatment,
to grant preferential treatment
nor seek personal gain,
nor seek personal gain,
favor, or advantage
favor, or advantage
not available to the general public.
not available to the general public.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Good? Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. You know, I just want to say something. It's always an honor that the police department comes up and their support for new patrolmen and those who serve this community and their retirement. So it's always great to see all you guys out here. And the chief's done a great job bringing everybody together. His plan and his vision we supported 100%. You know, these young men that are now part of our department, I think they're a great attribute to the rest of the department. And we want to wish you well and a very long and successful career and a very safe career. Thank you.
The face of public safety, our director,
I'm going to give her the stage.
It's always an honor to bring on board a young man who's dedicated and committed to community service to protect our community and our residents. We congratulate you. You've been on board as a second-class officer for a while, and we've seen great improvement. Your Sergeant Ortiz did a fabulous job. He's only said the best things for you, and we're just so proud for you. Congratulations. And thank you all so much.
Good evening, thanks for coming. My name's Acting Chief William Sampolsky. I have to make an announcement. Our current chief, Paul Daly's in the back. This will be the last person that's hired under his administration. He did a fantastic job. He was here when Mark was hired. He was a big contributor of Mark being hired. Just a little background about Mark. He's come a long way. He didn't get a lot of training down in Cape May, and sometimes overnight you don't become a superstar police officer. Just a side story, you know, I knew Mark was going to be okay here because the first time he went into Chief Daly's office, and these guys will tell you when you go in there, sometimes it's not good. Most of the time it's not good. And he took his medicine on the chin, he came out, and he became a better police officer for it. I'd like to thank these guys as normal. You got the best police department around. You had, he started with Sergeant Wolin, Patrolman Marchese had a hand in it, Patrolman Corcoran, Sergeant Olson, of getting them to here. Sergeant Burns was his direct supervisor, and his current supervisor, Sergeant Ortiz, has done a fantastic job. And one of the things that I want to make sure that when we lose people, that we're replacing them with quality officers, homegrown, that fit the vision that I have for the police department, and these guys have. So Mark's come a long way. He's a good kid. He's from town. It was a little rough in the beginning. He was hired the traditional way through civil service. He scored in the top 3. That was a little rough in the beginning, wasn't it, Mark? And then, but we've got him here today. You know, one of the things that I do when we put them through this FTO program, I speak to all the officers because I want their input. It's a family of what they think. They've welcomed Mark with open arms. The sergeant says he's doing a fantastic job, and each day he's going to grow. So I'm thankful he's here. He's a great kid, and welcome. So. One other thing I like to say, as I always say, I have to thank Mayor and Council. They support exactly the vision that I have for this police department 400%. We couldn't do it without them. And I also like to thank our CFO, Shelley, who crunches the numbers to allow us to hire these guys. So, thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, guys. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
We'll break to bring up Detective Robert Alexander.
There you go, Robbie.
Just a little bit about Rob. He retired here. Today, Friday will be his last day. I've known Rob a long time. He's been a fantastic officer his whole career here. The one thing he'd say about Rob, never caused any problems. I look at that when somebody, what did they do throughout their career? He wasn't always dealt the best cards here. Trust me, he really wasn't. But he always persevered. He did a good job. You can always count on Rob. Never caused any problems, and he did a great job here. I'm going to miss him. He has a heart of gold, but his time has come, and we're going to say goodbye.
A new one comes and one leaves. Here we go. Today, Detective Robert Alexander, in the recognition of your 29 years of public service and 21 years of service to the Borough of Runnemede. Your years of dedicated service is appreciated by the Borough, your co-workers, and the residents of Runnemede. Congratulations on your retirement. Yeah.
I'm going to present Rob with a retirement ID and badge. This is something that we want to continue this tradition. There you go. You'll always be part of the time. Chief Daly, could you come up, please?
Why don't you just give mine on January 4th, Bill? Just give it to me on the 4th.
No, come on.
I ain't got that one.
present you with your ID and your retirement badge. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Happy New Year. Now, Mark will take you to what we call the picture room for pictures. Thanks a million, guys. Mark, can you get a quick picture?
Hey, you.
You're always welcome to stay and see the action.
Sounds good.
Oh, it's finally finished?
We have we have to recognize someone else this evening. Mr. Knight, can you come up to the front? Keith, you didn't bring 45 people to this next one?
No, because I have to pay for the car fare. Well, social distancing, Uber, it all adds up.
All right, Mr. Knight. Okay. For those in the audience, Mr. Knight, we appreciate everything you've done for us, so we want to make sure that we gave you an opportunity. We wanted the opportunity to say goodbye and thank you. So from the Borough of Runnemede, Mayor and Council honor Keith Knight in the grateful appreciation of his 14 and a half years of commitment and dedication that you've given to the Borough of Runnemede and its citizens. The many positions that you have held and performed with excellence is a testament of your outstanding abilities. Code enforcement officer, construction official, housing inspector, fire subcode official, and zoning officer. On behalf of the residents of Runnemede, we commend your accomplishments and thank you for your outstanding service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. That's beautiful.
I like that I'm taller than most of the people. That's always good.
In here?
It's actually facing me now.
Really?
Take a picture.
Take a picture of yourself.
Okay?
I'll send it to you.
All right, yeah, send it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy retirement,
Thank
kid.
you.
Enjoy yourself.
So lucky.
Absolutely.
Now you have the time to do all the things you couldn't do before.
Very nice, Keith.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a little bit of business. This is obviously a caucus meeting, so we do have a slightly different agenda this evening. So just to be clear to everyone, we skipped that. We're going to take care of the, let me go right to the minutes. First thing we have to do is request the approval of the minutes of the November 30th and December 7th meetings, as submitted by the clerk. Is there a motion?
I'll make a
Accept those
motion.
minutes? Okay, motion by Mr. Neary. Second by Mr. Lobenstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, we're doing this at the end of the year, but I think it's okay. We have to make sure that our salary ordinance matches up with the salaries paid to our employees. So we have this is the second reading?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the public hearing, ordinance 2117. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this ordinance, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, is there a second? Second by Mr. Farrell. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the public portion is closed. At this time, is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt this ordinance, an ordinance regulating the salaries for employees of the Borough of Runnemede. The motion to adopt on second and final reading and advertise according to law.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Henry. Is there a second? I'll second. Second by Mr. Lobenstein. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Runnemede.
Yes.
4 ayes, 2 absent.
All right, that ordinance is adopted. All right, we have resolution 21-170, it's a resolution on agreement with Homeward Bound Pet Adoption Center. Did everyone get their pet licensing letters in the mail?
Yes, I did,
Yes.
I did.
Was there a good, did you like on the back, did it explain a little bit about Homeward Bound, that we're using a no-kill shelter? Did you
Yes.
notice that?
Yes, I did. I read the
So
whole thing.
I'm going to try very hard to get my licenses in on time, so I avoid the late fee, but I can't
They're
promise anything.
expensive, the late
Okay.
fees.
We have two dogs this year. So for the Welfare Society and the Borough of Runnemede for the Animal Shelter Services, is there a motion to approve our agreement with Homeward Bound?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Mr. Ranieri. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Mr. Ranieri.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. I will let everyone know that Homeward Bound is more expensive. So it's important that people register their pets so that it offsets our costs. We're not here to make any money, we're here just to pay the bill for this service that's provided. We have all these resolutions.
Well, yes, your solicitor is very busy this afternoon and sent me about 8 agreements.
All right.
Bundle.
One, 21-182. I appreciate the clerk's diligence.
I didn't want to for reorg, I really did.
Okay, so we're gonna put these all together. As long as there's no objection, I'll read each one if there's any questions. Resolution 21-171 is a resolution authorizing a shared service agreement between Belmar, Runnemede, and Mount Ephraim for trash collection. I think we all know about that one, we've been talking about that, and it's been a good relationship. Resolution 21-172 is a resolution authorizing the treasurer to make transfers between appropriations. It was a very minimal amount, I think only $400 between a couple of accounts. Resolution 21-173 is a resolution authorizing a lien on Block 48, Lot 1, due to non-payment of housing costs. This was the property that we thought had changed hands, but it did not. This is where we had to put the tenant in the way of housing while the building got repaired. Resolution 21-174 is a resolution regarding employment.
That's the retirement letter from Dan.
So if everyone just take a bit, just look at that one. Mr. Murray has given his letter, giving his notification that he intends to retire on December 31st, 2022. So the chief will be organizing the transition between, we're going to have a captain's test. We've got a little bit of work to do next year.
We, the captain and lieutenant's test that were taken October, late 18th, probably, I would say in the area of February 1st, when the results come out for civil service, then we'll know what's going for the future.
Right, so in typical fashion, Mr. Murray will work for us to a point where he has his paid time off, and then he'll use that until he burns all his time. We will be at the reorganization meeting. We do have a retirement agreement, so his salary and things like that will be on the next meeting, which basically outlines his last year, what his salary will be, and the expectations of his work and his paid time off. So we'll do that at the January 4th meeting. But we needed the letter first to trigger the retirement agreement. Resolution 21-175 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a police uniform. The borough, just to be clear, we typically cannot purchase equipment for someone who doesn't work for us. But just to read this very quickly, a potential new hire for the Borough of Runnemede Police Department has paid his way through the police academy, and whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Runnemede wish to purchase a uniform for the potential new hire so that he may graduate the police academy wearing his Borough of Runnemede uniform, and whereas mayor and council would like to purchase the uniform now so the potential new hire may begin work immediately upon graduation of the police academy. So this is just a technicality. Hopefully everyone has no problem for that.
Nope.
Resolution 176 is a resolution authorizing a shared service between Runnemede and Chislehurst for the use of the Vector vehicle and operator, which is the sewer machine. Resolution 21-177 is a resolution authorizing shared service agreement between Runnemede and Barrington for the brine solution. Resolution 21-178 is the same thing with brine for the Borough of Belmar. 179 is the same agreement with the Borough of Oak Lynn for furnishing brine. And then 21-180 is for the Borough of Mount Eagle. So we're going to be providing a lot of brine for a lot, and we are prepared to do all this for our neighbors, and we're compensated fairly.
One more down the road.
And we get the brine from the county.
No, we're making it ourselves.
Oh,
I'm sorry, there's one more, Mr. Robinson pointed out. The New Jersey Department of Health, Department of Health
Yeah, it's in court,
and Court.
yeah. But they go by the New Jersey Department.
Okay. So part of Gloucester Township.
Yeah.
Gloucester Township can provide.
He's got, they're getting booked up with so many coming to him that the little,
So he encourages the small.
is coming out.
Okay.
There's one on the next page.
And then 182, Mr. Robinson said we want to table that one, is that correct? All right, so we're going to table that. So motion is in order to approve resolutions 21-171 to resolutions 21-180. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Mr. Farrell. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Runnemede.
Yes.
4 ayes, 2 absent.
All those resolutions are adopted. Typically at a caucus meeting, we do things a little differently. So why don't we start off a little differently? Why don't we start with Mr. Locke, or Mr. Wozo? Tell us what's going on in the plans for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, the next 2 weeks? Survival.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we are, starting to break down from what I take from my vacation is they're breaking down from Christmas decorations and so forth, but we're planning and setting up for the organizational meeting on next week.
Let's pause on that just a second. I know there were some emails. We do have a microphone available, but we do not need a recording equipment. Is that accurate at this point?
That's
Correct.
Okay. We intend to have tables set up for members of council and professionals, and then we'll have the swearing in, we'll seat the 2 members of council. And we have tablecloths, things like that, backgrounds for the police department, for the borough, we have that.
Yes.
And then we'll have chairs separated, I would say a minimum of, Mr. Long, you okay with this? A minimal separation, 3 feet, or you think we need?
6.
Really, even with that, 6 feet?
With this variant, here's my goal. I was talking to Joyce about this today. You got to consider contact tracing. So remember, it's 6 feet for a period of more than 15 minutes in any individual 24-hour period. So I think that we should have it so that our reorganization, there is at least 6 feet of this.
Oh, we will be over 15 minutes. So we'll do the 6 feet, set up as many chairs as you can. I mean, the perimeter, maybe we can, maybe have someone at the door that can tell everybody to keep some separation or with their groups.
Are masks going to be required?
Masks are going to be required.
Do we need vaccination for
No,
that?
we're not going to require anything when people come.
You got to be careful with that, especially because it's a public meeting. So you don't want to get involved in making that distinguishing characteristic, notwithstanding anybody's individual feelings on that.
So we intend to.
What about the council meeting afterwards?
So we decided to combine the 2 meetings to limit the time of the meeting. So where we normally have back-to-back meetings, Ms. Pinto is putting the 2 together. So we'll pay the bills, we'll do over that. Basically, we'll do the pleasantries at the beginning, do our seating of the council members, the swearing of the police chief. At that point, we'll take a slight pause, and then we'll do the business that we need to do, any transfer or the temporary budget. We'll do the same thing, we'll do a block, so I ask everybody to review the ordinances ahead of time and the resolutions ahead of time.
Okay.
It's the typical stuff that we've been doing for decades. The cash management plan, the listing of the banks, all that kind of stuff. All the appointments of the professionals. We may read them out. I might read them out only because if they're there, I think it's polite to read out who the attorney is.
Depends on what it is.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to use Mrs. Kelly.
well, you never know, right? So, but I think this will be the way to do it. This way we can at least be open to the public, do the best we can. I wanted everyone to know that many reorganizations are going Zoom now.
Virtual.
Virtual.
Yeah.
So the virtual is coming back with a vengeance. Are the school districts going virtual or?
Less so. I would say more municipalities, just because the logic of the school districts is we're making the teachers and the kids come in, and we should be in person as well. But, obviously it's not the same calculus with individual municipalities. However, you are seeing more and more school districts who are going virtual. None that are too local that I'm aware of. I know Willingboro is one that are going virtual after the break. And we're obviously bracing for the worst with the holiday gatherings and kids returning to school next week.
So it's leaning back the other direction right now. The Mayor's Association sent out emails, I think the clerks. There was a lot of municipalities that were either doing greater separation or just going virtual. So I think this compromise that we came up with is pretty good one, a little extra work for Mr. Wozon. I don't think it's a big deal. I think the athletics is canceled for that evening. I think the setup and the breakdown should be pretty minimal.
Yeah.
We're really only talking about some chairs and things like that. It's not like we're having a party.
We'll be fine with everything that's set up.
Okay, continue.
So with that going on to COVID, we've increased everything back up with our cleaning and fogging and so forth like that. So we have increased our fogging routines this week with it, because we are starting to see the rise with it. So making sure all of our internal employees and so forth are taken care of. We do have it in Public Works. I was called at 4 p.m. today for confirmation of one. So with that, we're verifying and so forth like that, and a person is vaccinated. So regardless, we're just making sure we're covering everything.
May I ask, what are you fogging, Harry?
All the buildings, all the bathrooms, all the...
Here, the offices and everything?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, they get done every morning before everybody comes in.
Oh, great.
But like after this meeting, tomorrow, everything will be redone.
Right.
Down at the Harry Williams, because we got gym going on now, the basketball and so forth. Then we go in there, go to the bathrooms and common areas and so forth. As far as I know, they're still limited to coaches and the kids by themselves. There's no group parents yet or anything like that, so we're good that way.
Police department as well?
Yep. So with that, we are getting ready to go into 2022, and we're looking at closing out projects that we've had out pending and so forth. So that's my goal in the next 2 weeks, is to try to get some of our long-lasting projects closed out and so forth that are on and so forth. Like I know we had the fire alarm at Howard Williams building. We have purchase orders given. We're just waiting for the contractor to give us a date to start. So we did reach out to them and waiting for.
And for this building too, right?
Yes. The fire door at Borough Hall, that has been ordered, it's been back ordered, and we're trying to get a delivery date on that one, close that out, to actually get our full CO final. Do have to make, start getting quotes for the computer door under the stairwell. That was to get a full door. The monument down at the Harry Williams complex, that's on back order and so forth, and as far as I know, that's in a cargo box out at sea. So we're waiting for that, because that was coming from overseas. Also, we're reviewing the HVAC contracts and looking at changing vendors, just to make sure that we have the best value and service with it. The current vendor that we've been using has grown and so forth, and we're not getting the care that we previously had.
They merged with someone else, right?
They merged with 3 other companies. So, with that, then we go into the bigger projects. The Scout Building is everybody's interest. With that, set up by the direction of the mayor, which was a good point, was to set up with our new construction official after the first, set up with his plans of how he wants to handle permits and inspections of the progress of that building. With that, when you start off, I got to get some proposals for the electrical rough, the plumbing rough, the HVAC rough, and then the doors and the windows, roughing that all in.
Yeah,
So,
I saw on the bill list, we paid the roofer $13,260.
yeah, that's all been completed.
Well, we needed the roof first. I think that was a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So now we're going to get the doors and windows, and then with that, I can simultaneously schedule the electric roughing, the plumbing roughing, and so forth like that. Then we'll start going on with the final stuff once we get the rough stuff done. So I'm hoping, it all depends on COVID related, that hopefully we have a finalization of this in 6 months.
What?
It
What
could
was
take
that?
us 6 months to have it completed,
Oh,
as long as
Wonderful.
COVID and supplies are available.
wonderful. That's great.
It's trying to be realistic, but
We haven't been able to get a door for 4 months.
4 months, so we could even, that holds things up. So that's the only thing right now. So if we can get the basic stuff and stay with what's available, and within the box of that, we should be able to move forward.
6 months, that's
Let's see, backtracking, trying to close out some items. I do have, if it comes up in the legal report, Sherrington property with the school and the RY Railroad property that's been ongoing for 12 years. We need to come up with closure and time lapse on that.
Well, the school one is a different attorney, but hopefully that's moving forward. I mean, the issue like you're bringing up is what, cutting the grass, maintaining the property.
Yeah.
So we're still cutting the grass and maintaining stuff.
And Calvin Court.
And County Court.
Calvin Court has never come to a closure yet.
Yeah, so we'll have to get back up. You're still cutting the grass there.
We're taking over maintenance, but it's never been
Stop
signed
in,
over and finished with the homeowners.
There was an issue, I think, still with Barrington.
Yeah, Barrington.
Yeah. I
We
mean,
getting paid for that?
we send a sewer bill.
No, for the cutting.
Well, we own the land. It was sort of given to us at this point. But we own the pump station now.
It's just
Sort
to
of
make
own the
sure,
pump station.
well, you're saying sort of, so it's to make sure we have the full documentation and everything else to close everything out. We've always
Both us and I think.
never
that-
crossed the finish line.
Yeah, the residents and us, we've tried to get this done, but it's getting it over that last little couple of hurdles. And it's not just legal, it's municipality.
Correct.
There's a couple of municipal-
The fact that it's, the Barrington portion of it makes it, even though it's so little, makes it such a bigger burden, but we can work on it,
We'll
we'll
figure that out.
figure it out in the new year, yeah.
We do have ongoing projects with the engineer.
There's no engineers.
We don't have no update for tonight for the reports, but we need to come closure and find out timelines. That's going to be a progress for 2022 is part of our engineering reports. A request we get budgeting items and request timelines of the projects for completion and so forth. Because we have Eastham manhole replacements. We have to get that done before the county pays. That's already been authorized.
By the county and by us.
Yeah,
We authorized to fix the manholes, and the county's getting ready to do the road.
the road. So we gotta get the engineer to get the stuff done so it goes out to bid and get it completed, so we're not interfering with the county's project. The DPW survey was completed, but they were requesting for wetlands delineation. Don't know what the progress is with that. We don't have a timeline on what's happening, so can we start looking at planning, building, what's going on? So it's projects like that. We don't have any closure to it.
What he's talking about, Eleanor, is, do you remember there was some issues with the CCMUA, and then there's some parking issues that we want to resolve, so we had to get a survey done, and I guess the wetlands is the next issue.
As far as our Avenue sewer station upgrades, nothing has come forward with that. Storm sewer.
But that's going to be handling all the new sewage.
No, it's totally separate.
This is something separate.
This was an old, the Forest Avenue was one of the oldest ones left.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to use some of our ARP money to do that, but once again,
But it
it's
will be handling what the new sewage.
It's not tied into that part of the town.
a different direction.
It goes in a different direction.
The one behind, the one on Eastham Road is different.
No, this is an old problem that hasn't been resolved yet. It has nothing to do with the new sewer system.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's just an older machine.
Okay.
It's just one of those things that we haven't got cleared up yet.
The sanitary sewer mapping and the stormwater mapping, that hasn't come to a closure. It's been over 3 years. That's what's the timeline when they're going to finish the
Even though the engineer is not here.
Yeah.
Did he call out? Maybe he got confused.
You know, I don't know.
No, this is an adjourned
We
meeting.
have to have one.
We typically don't have
We
one.
don't do anything, we just do the resolutions and.
And leave, yeah, we're doing a little bit more tonight, only because I think Harry needs to give us some background.
Yeah. The RYA drainage plan, that was requested 2 years ago, and we haven't gotten that. Now that the South Jersey Gas is doing, looking at running the gas line through the railroad portion with the easement talk and so forth. Don't know if that's going to create a conflict for ourselves, because we haven't even had plans for it.
So, Honor, once again, South Jersey Gas is bringing a gas line in. We're negotiating with them on paying us for an easement, and we're going to do that next year, at the beginning of the next meeting, correct? And we're going to do a deal with South Jersey Gas and a deal with New Jersey American.
Now, this is that, all those people back there.
Two separate things.
Oh,
He's talking about South Jersey Gas wants to go along the bike path. They're going to pay us for
Tearing it
tearing
up.
that out. And then simultaneously, New Jersey American Water is selling us the land on Evergreen. So we've got these two things that are going to happen at the beginning of next. So these are the reason I wanted him to go over a lot of this. It's all going to happen at the next meeting, guys. So at the next meeting, it'll reorg. We're going to put these in there. So even though I'm going to do unanimous consent, I want everybody to be on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, and some of these issues that he's bringing up, it's more of something just to talk to Mark about. And I think what Harry's bringing up, I have something to do with it, is, you know, time, the order that we're going to do stuff when we're expecting to have it.
Well, how soon is South Jersey Gas going to cut up the bike path?
They've already started on it, if you ever noticed, they're actually on the Blackfirst Pike. I think they're going down, are they going down Smith Lane yet?
They're marking it out, preparing for it, but they haven't started cutting yet.
But they finished the Blackfirst Pike, so they're moving.
So are we behind the 8 ball?
We are not behind.
No, we're not, I'm not, we're not behind the 8 ball, we're good.
We just need to get it.
Okay.
We'll get
We're
it
bringing
done.
up points to stay ahead of it. That's the whole,
That's what we wanted.
that's what we're trying to do.
We're trying to bring this to a point to our engineer to, that's all.
Other than that, we need to all stick together with the group for planning of the 2022 capital projects. Some of the things that have been out there, paving of the Harry Williams building and field house exterior, paving projects, we have multiple little paving projects around, the VFW playground, the LED lights at the soccer field at Vanilla Park, I am working on quotes and designs for that.
Wait. The lights, we already put in.
I
Lights
mean, he's
in
talking about on the fields themselves.
Oh, you mean night lights? Night lights?
For games.
So they can play at night?
Right now, we have the portable generators
Yeah.
in the practice.
Right.
Lights would be more
Harry, any of
efficient.
those things that you mentioned, are any of them held up because of COVID shipping related problems?
No, this is all 2022, this is all going into 2022.
Anything ordered yet?
No, this is all, nothing budget.
Nothing budget, we haven't done anything.
This is his list of
This
things
is the list I've heard.
we should be thinking about.
I hear from what we've had passed, it's been pending, we never funded and so forth, but everybody asks, why don't we do this? Instead of getting to the last moment, let's get money when we don't have it. So we gotta put together our capital plan, and we need it, because we also need it from our organizations.
Well, you know, we've been talking about lights at the soccer field for a long time, but they're always so expensive. So now all of a sudden, they're going to be affordable?
You want to explain?
Yes, they should be affordable, because what I found out is we don't need to do a class 1 lighting scheme, which was quoted out for $220,000.
Right.
We only need class 3, which is high school and lower. So it actually drops the lights, drops the candle locks, drops everything to.
And everything's
actually
LED, so
affordable.
the amperage is lower.
So, doing research, we've been able to bring the project down, and we should be able to make it a manageable, pricey project for us.
There's, most of the time, there's not gonna be nighttime games, this is mostly for practice.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to have the top of the line lighting,
Yes.
you know, this is practice, when the kids are out there still
Yeah,
safe.
and just because the fields are unusable for practice because it gets dark.
Yes, it does, yeah, it does get dark outside.
We do have the portable lights, but our procrastination has helped us. By waiting longer, the price of LEDs has come down, the technology has gotten better, and I think the research has changed our attitude towards what's going on down there, mostly practice, and then the little kids being too neat.
Right.
So
That's very encouraging. I'm very encouraged by that.
So moving on, the doors at the Harry Williams building, the outside doors need to be upgraded, they've got gaps in them and so forth, the steel's rotting on them. So we need to look at that. We looked at it a couple of years ago, but we lost the funding on it, so it's a maintenance part of the building. Goes with the R funding, touchless fixtures, borough-wide, all the bathrooms and so forth. We've already started looking at a couple of facilities, but we found out that you have to upgrade the water lines to manage this now. You have to increase the water supply for the touchless. So it's not just change the fixture. It's, you know, upgrading the internal also. We do have, to keep on the radar, the Borough Hall flooring, that's the hallways here. We already did half of it. We need to finish that into the police department and the other hallways. So it's just be out that way. Christmas decorations, make sure we have money so we can start ordering early in the year so we can have it for next year, because
We did a great job
we
this
say,
year.
hey, we
The
did
Borough
it
Hall is
last.
beautiful.
We
The
did,
Borough Hall
we
is
did, but
beautiful.
you know, are we getting to the pipe more? But the reefs and so forth, those items are anywhere from $600 to $1,400 a piece. So that's the thing, when you start looking at how much money you want, you know, how much you want it to look nice and how much money you want to give. So while we're looking at all the budget and all the items, these were the top items that I've done that's been pending, but each department has their own wish list, but trying to get it. So we don't have last minute stuff. Unfortunately, Mr. Spiro's off. I did send an email to him asking him about the sports to make sure that they let us know if there's any equipment that needs to be upgraded and so forth. I haven't received anything back. So with that, just to go over multiple of the items that we're seeing and trying to get items across the finish line. So that's what's going on with Public Works and with
Before we talk about the bike, before we do anything else, Joyce, PSC&G has all the numbers of the lights that are all out on the bike.
They have a list of the poles. I don't know if they have numbers or not. They were supposed to go out, but they did stop in the office. They did say they were working on it.
Okay, all right,
They just said, Tony, it will take time.
all right.
So I actually had asked Harry to do something for this meeting, so we knew that, because I wanted.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
So when we're planning for the future, we have an idea of where he's been at and where we're all at. There are, financial issues and legal issues that combine with all that. So, Ms.
I was just a little confused because we've already approved a lot of the capital for the pandemic funds. And we really haven't reviewed that list of projects. That was what you know what I'm talking about?
So, okay, so what Mr. Mozart was talking about, things that we've been talking about for years that wouldn't be eligible for the pandemic.
This is outside of that.
This is outside of those kinds of things. So these are things where, certain funds might be reimbursable to a line item. This is where Shelley comes in and tells us we can't spend all the money. So we have to pick and choose. And I think that's what Harry was trying to outline to everybody. When we're sitting here making final decisions, there's only a limited amount of money. Once again, we all have to make a decision. Raising taxes, hiring employees, giving raises.
When do we want to make that decision on Harry's list? When do we want to decide?
We won't decide.
So-
It's ongoing.
So I would agree that it's an ongoing thing, but it'll start off with the 2022 budget. The items that will be in the budget is part of the things that we might get done. Second thing is our capital ordinance, which is affects the budget. So the more we borrow, the more debt we have to pay back. That affects our tax rate. And then the last thing is what we're talking about, grants and funding, which you're talking about the ARP money, FEMA money and stuff like that. We have to see where that plugs in. Harry brought up the VFW playground.
Yeah.
If you remember, we've always tried to get money for that. Well, now, it took us a couple of years, we now own that playground, if everybody remembers. We now own it. We never owned it. It was owned by the Sports Depot.
Sports Outlet.
Or Sports Outlet. Sports Depot. And through with help with the VFW, we now own it. So we have an obligation to replace that equipment. So once again, where do you want to spend money? If Shelley comes back next month and says, we have $400,000,
Playground.
what do you do?
Playground.
So you said no then to the soccer lines.
No, lights are good.
So you see what I'm getting at?
Well, anything outdoors right away, we should be getting
But
done.
like you said, there's flooring that needs to be replaced. The microphones, now, we had already authorized that. Any update on that? Does anybody, Joyce, anybody have any update on microphones?
Not yet, after the holidays.
Okay. Shelley, did you want to add anything before? Because we can adjourn. This was not supposed to be a long meeting, but it was an opportunity just for us to talk again, because at the next meeting, we are going to move quickly, and we're going to try to get a lot of these kind of things done. We're just going to have a resolution approving cash management plan, all that stuff. A few of these other little items will be on the agenda, so please read it all ahead of time. And any questions, ask yours.
I hope that we can always look at this list that he's given us. I forgot about a lot of that stuff. I forgot about it.
Well, I think Mr. Wilson could easily, if he
Just kind
knows,
of keep it in our brains, because I forgot about a lot of that stuff.
the War Memorial.
That's what it's to bring it up. Is
I know.
To recap to make sure.
Well, once a year is not
priorities
enough.
and front.
Our committee, and our committees, Public Works.
Now, who's on that committee?
Public Works, Engineering, and Parks and Rec, which is Richie Bob and I on all three. Harry will give the list to us, we're the committee, and then we will disseminate everything out and let you know what we discussed.
And then we'll pick as a group a month.
As you do with the police station and you guys have your public safety meetings, you guys tell us then what's going on.
Yes, yeah.
We will do that with you so we don't inundate Harry with questions. We will get everything.
But I think the report is a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Because it affects all, you're right, all three departments. It
Yeah.
affects finance. It affects finance the biggest. And I think, you know, Shelley's been yelling at me about money. So
I think-
we've got to be
Just,
cautious.
I want to interject, I think we all agree that it's important that we work with only virtual. We get this courtroom set up so that we can have a lot of virtual meetings, right?
It's potentially the future. Sorry, our caucus starts at 6. Congratulations, you were appointed.
Congratulations!
You were appointed.
Hello, Mr. Farrell, good to feel better. How are you? Good.
Our new zoning officer.
Yeah, well, you're not
It's not in uniform.
in uniform. We have to get you a uniform. A top hat, maybe a top hat.
True, right?
Was there anything else you wanted to add, Shelley?
No.
Was there anything you wanted to add, Dan?
Good to go?
Oh, UCC? UCC.
Anybody have anything to add before we go?
We're
on?
good,
Not
we're
really.
good.
Okay, so the reorg will be at the Harry Wayne's building. Ms. Pinto has already been advertised in the newspaper. We are going to put it on our Facebook, our website.
Weather
police
looks
department.
good, it looks like it's going to be
Okay, well,
low,
hopefully we're inside.
low 35, high 45.
We're going to put it on our sign.
What time?
The reorg starts at 6 p.m.
It doesn't matter.
So if we can get there a little bit earlier, we're there,
It's cold.
organized.
Raining, it's going to be shit.
We should have flowers again. We'll work all that out. There's flowers.
Do you want flowers?
It's usually done.
I didn't order it.
We didn't order
Yes,
flowers.
all of it.
You want me to get them?
You should have flowers.
It's dark at 6 o'clock.
We definitely have flowers. Maybe
It's
we
not
bring the
gonna be
poinsettias
taken.
over. Do we have a lot of poinsettias this year? Steal all the poinsettias from back.
Yeah, they give Arnie buys them for us.
Dom's coming.
That's right. You know, we will have dignitaries there. There will be some because a lot of the meetings have been canceled a little bit. And, you know, I think we're doing the right thing with our separation. Hopefully we'll have a nice little turnout. Okay? With that, we go to the payment of bills. Chris did send everyone a
Yes.
list of bills.
I got him.
Would someone like to make a motion to pay the monthly bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the monthly
I'll
bills.
second.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Mr. Lobenstein. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
And Mr. Ranieri?
Yes.
All right, the bills shall be paid. This portion of the meeting is good and welfare. Anyone from the audience wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
So you know,
Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public
I'll
portion?
make that motion to close public.
Motion by Mr. Lobenstein, is there a second? Second by Mr. Farrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Lobenstein, second by Mr. Ranieri. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, we can say it, but 6:48.